What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to be answering the question, who do you think will make the playoffs in 2024 that missed the playoffs in 2023? Now, when you look at something like this, you always have to look at the teams that you can take out of the playoffs that you want to replace and put new teams in, right? I think when you look at the standings, I think the top 6 teams are set, right? When you look at what they've done in the offseason, the pieces that they've already had on their roster, a lot of them have already fixed the problems that they were lacking in the season before, right? You look at the Minnesota Lynx, they brought in guards. They brought in Natisha Hiedeman. They brought in Courtney Williams. That covers the basis for what they were missing, right? When you look at the Dream, they brought in Jordan Canada. They brought in Aerial Powers. They got guard play already there with Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard. And I think that's a young, talented roster. I'm interested to see what they do this year. You look at the Dallas Wings, a lot of young talent on that roster. You got Enrique down there. You got Satu down there. You bring back a vet in Natasha Howard. You got size down low. I like that roster. I think it's going to come down to Satu's health. We know she had that shoulder surgery in the offseason. So if she's able to stay healthy and be out there for her team, I think that they can be another good team and right in the mix in that 3 to 5 range, right? You look at the Connecticut Sun, they lost Rebecca Allen, but for the majority of the roster, the rest of the roster is pretty much the same, right? You got your core pieces. You get Brianna Jones back, who missed last year with injury. So hopefully if she can stay healthy, she'll definitely help AT and DeWanna Bonner. You look at the Liberty, one of the top teams in the league. You know what they have. Dogs. Loaded roster. You look at the Aces, back-to-back champions. Like, their roster didn't change much, right? They brought back pretty much everybody. So, yeah, you know what you're getting with them. So when you look at the teams to replace, right, you have the Washington Mystics, who finished 7th, and then you have the Chicago Sky, who finished 8th. I think both of those teams will take a step back. I'm interested to see if Shakira Austin can stay healthy this year, especially with losing Elena Deladon for the season, who's sitting out. That's going to be huge that she stays healthy and stays on the court and available for her team. And also they lost Natasha Cloud at point guard. So I think both of those, losing Deladon and losing Cloud, I think that's going to be big for the Mystics, and I think they're going to take a step back and ultimately miss the playoffs. You look at Chicago, they lose Kalia Copper, they lose Courtney Williams. I think that's going to be big. You have a lot of scoring to replace there, and hopefully they'll try to fix that in the draft. They have a few draft picks, so we'll see, but I do think they'll take a step back. So now you look at the teams that could possibly replace them that missed the playoffs, right? You have the Sparks, you have the Fever, you have the Storm, and you have the Mercury. I don't think the Sparks are going to make the playoffs. I just don't think that their roster is that talented to make the playoffs. I could be wrong. They do have a couple of first-round picks, but I think losing Jordan Canada is going to be big. I also think losing NECA is going to be big for them too. That's a lot of scoring and a lot of facilitating to replace. You look at the Fever, they have the #1 pick, Caitlin Clark. I think she can come in and really lift up her teammates and show the best of her teammates, right? I think her assist numbers are going to be pretty high. Getting other people involved. They have Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston there, 2 All-Stars from last year. So I like that roster. I do think that they will sneak into the playoffs, right? If they can stay healthy, if they can get stops, the stops are going to be big for them. You have a good mix of vets and young players, so I think that's a recipe for success, right? You look at Seattle, they brought in Skylar Diggins-Smith. They brought in NECA to go with Jewel Lloyd and Ezzy. And I think they might have some struggles figuring out how to play with one another offensively. So I don't think that they'll make the playoffs. And then you look at the Mercury. They finished 9-31, the worst record in the league. But they've made some big changes to this roster. They brought in some dogs, I tell you. They brought in Kalia Copper from Chicago. She averaged 18 a game. You know what she can do. She's a dog on both ends. Natasha Cloud, you know what she can do. She's a dog on both ends. She can facilitate. She can score when needed. She can rebound. They brought in Rebecca Allen at the 4, who can shoot it and also rebound, to go with the vet Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner. And they already have Sophie Cunningham there. So I like what this roster looks like. If they can stay healthy, I think they can make the playoffs. I actually think that they can make some noise in the playoffs, actually, with this roster. So those are the two teams that I think will make the playoffs that missed the playoffs in 2023. The Indiana Fever and the Phoenix Mercury.